Alright, testing. Awesome. Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Race Spec Pacific Series, this time here for round 6 at Canada with the Tier 4 lads. I'm Bodhod and I'll be commentating for you this evening around what is quite a bright and sunny Canada. So beautiful weather, let's hope we get a cracking race. These guys usually put on a show, so I don't expect tonight to be any exception, so really looking forward to it. Got a fair few quick guys in here. Seen some really good battling in the first couple of races this season, so I'm excited to see what these guys can throw our way as we've just started to pick up some guys on outlaps. It looks like down the race will be the first one to start a lap, so we'll jump on board and do a full lap just to find our way around the track and yeah, we'll just get a bit of a guide. Yeah, the lap really starts before the start line with that final chicane there. So easy to invalidate your lap, so make sure you get through that. Heavy brake for turn 1, 3rd, 4th gear, and then slow it down again for turn 2. Keep it nice and tight. Pretty easy to lose the rear end, sorry. So you want to try and get the power down nicely. Mid-skiddy corner, really easy to cut the inside of both of those. You see down the racer, just slightly missed that left hand there, but that's okay. He'll warm into the session as it goes on. Another chicane, lots of these kind of corners, kind of 3rd, 4th gear corners, got to get the power down. Probably one of the more difficult places to put the power down on the exit of there because you are turning in the traction zone. DRS zone, heavy braking again. You can cut a little bit of that inside one, but you cannot touch that left-hander at all because it will invalidate your lap. Down the race has done fairly well to get through that. Now heavy braking, the heaviest braking zone on the track, down into 2nd, maybe 1st gear for some drivers to get the power down for the long straight, which is probably where we're going to see most of our overtakes. As we've already got someone disqualified. The wrong way. Drell and Mercedes. I'm just going to quickly flip to that. Yeah, so he's gone round and the game's disqualified him before he can get himself back on track, so that's very interesting. As Dan the Racer has finished his lap and done a 10 flat, so decent time to start out with. F1 Boy marginally behind. But yeah, that's going to be one of the quickest disqualifications I've ever seen, actually. As we're just flicking through this list here, and there's a lot of guys who've already invalidated their laps. So yeah, Mercedes and Drell already in the back foot as Gemma invalidates on the final corner. That will be this and next lap invalid, so that's going to be very frustrating for Gemma. Soskas behind's invalid, P. White's invalid, RG's in the pits. Shumatata looks like he's on a lap, so we'll jump aboard with the McLaren with the Rainbow Halo. Latest update come out, I think it was last night it came out. Has added a few of the rainbows and a couple of the other Wii Racers 1 features on the cars, which is a nice little touch. Always using the Wall of Champions. Shumatata looks like he hasn't lost his lap, but he will lose a lot of time coming up to the line. Slowest time so far. Yes, Wall of Champions, another big talking point of this track, probably the most iconic bit on this circuit. Challenging because it's so easy to understeer into that if you take too much curb or not enough curb on the second one. I've seen many a champion hit that wall, which that's the reason it got its name, as it looks like once Mofo's going to start a lap. So we jump on board as well with the Renault driver, showing flashes of some really, really good pace. We'll have to see if he can put it all together this race and get a decent result as he invalidates the lap there. So these guys are really struggling to get clean laps together, which is understandable because the curves are flat and you want to take as much of it as you can. And yeah, your time gained is really going to be in those chicanes there, so you want to make the most of it. So yeah, we've seen these guys kind of already struggling a little bit, but it'll be up to them to kind of find that balance between absolutely sending it and just actually getting the lap in. As we've got DBT coming through the final couple of corners now up to the line. It'll be a 1:11.4, so not the quickest lap, but he'll be hoping to improve. I'll just pull up the tyres. Exmore goes quickest for 1:09.3, so that's a good lap there. That's actually a really good lap to start off with, so that's a good platform for him to improve off. Macedonian in P4 on the mediums, that's also worth noting down. Then Lunacy in P9 and Ishima Tata also mediums, but we saw Ishima Tata hit the Wall of Champions, so that lap is not quite representative, but you see most of these guys are putting on the soft tyres to start off with. Once the Moped's had a couple of attempts at setting the lap on the mediums, but has not been successful in doing so as of yet. So we'll have to see whether he persists with those mediums or gives up on it and just puts on the softs. As we'll jump on board with Ninja Penguin coming through the first corner. We'll stay with him for this lap as well under the big Fanatec banner. Try to take as much of that curve with that cut in it. That's actually a really nice line there. Probably could have carried a tiny bit more speed on exit, but that first bit was absolutely perfect. Heavy braking, second gear, so looking to get the car turned in nicely, trying to get the power down. Just car on the left hand side gets out of the way nicely. DRS open. It's not really going to be much an overtaking zone unless you get a mega run, because the chicane is too fast and the DRS straight is too small, so it's probably better suited to lining you up for either throw in the inside of the hairpin or just get a bit closer for the main straight. So a bit of a funny little DRS zone, that back one. It kind of just keeps people in the game, I guess, which is good for the racing, yeah, although frustrating for drivers at times, as it just makes it harder to break the gap behind in the race. Ninja Penguin's still on his lap, he's still got it in hand. We'll see if he can get through the final couple of corners. He does, very nicely taken, quite cautious, it must be said, but for a first run that's not the worst thing as he goes into P8 on the soft tyres. So nice and tidy there, Ninja Penguin. I'm sure in his next run he'll be pushing a little bit more to try and take a bit more, a bit more liberties, trying to push it to the maximum to get that lap time. We've got a prediction in chat. Welcome guys, thanks for tuning in to Tier 4. Ferrari for pole, it's up to Lunacy and Honest Cook, who both had really good races last week actually. I know Honest Cook has had a couple of shaky ones and Lunacy's been fairly consistently up the front, so there is a fair chance that that Ferrari can get on the top step for qualifying at least. So we'll have to keep an eye on their progress. Lunacy hasn't set a soft lap yet, but still P10. As we've got, 6 drivers who haven't set times, plus then the disqualified Drow, who apparently lost the rear and just tried to let other guys pass before spinning it around. But the game doesn't like that. Unfortunately, if you go around, you pretty much have to get it back forwards within about 10 seconds or so. Otherwise, the game will disqualify you for either wrong way or parking in dangerous locations. So that's frustrating. Drow's technically done the right thing to let people go. But yeah, it's what it is, which is a real shame, but oh well. Go for it, buddy, as long as we get you in here for the race, and that is the most important thing. See these guys getting in their quality laps in preparation. I've got a weather report as well. It will be a full dry session for this qualifying and for the race, so no weather to play a part. We saw the Tier 3 race just been, we had a little bit of weather during the race, very, very dark. We've got yellows. I think that might just be, oh no, it's a Alfa Romeo. I'm not too sure what Candy Cane's doing. Is he just come out of the pits? I think he's on outlap, yes. He's just waiting for guys to go past. So that's nothing to worry about there, as he's in a bit of an awkward spot. Lunacy, I don't think he's on a lap. No, he's on an outlap as well, so that's okay. Just trying to sort each other out. It is quite narrow at places, so it can be hard for drivers to sort themselves out, and also just being such a short lap, less than 70 seconds, there's just going to be more cars on less road, which means more clutter. So it'll be important for these guys to get as much space as they can so they can take a clean lap. Speaking of clean laps, BMAC in the Red Bull showing some fine pace and putting it on temporary pole by 3,000th of a second over Xmort, so that is just about the smallest margin you'll possibly get, but we know Xmort does have the chance to put on some fresh boots and fight back. We've also got Insulator, who's mega close as well. He's 14,000th, 1.4 hundredths off pole as well. So very, very close to those top 3. Then you've got a bit of a gap, 4 tenths to MJ, and then Mastoni, I think his best lap still on mediums. Slip the favourite, or what, boys? Good to see a couple of fans in the chat. Slick Mofo showing plenty of pace in the past races. He'll be hoping to go right to the top, I'm sure. Currently in P15, as we've got some more yellows. I think that's mostly guys getting out of the way. We'll try and jump on someone on a lap. Slick has invalidated his lap so far. Jamo looks like he's on a lap, so we'll ride with the Red Bull. Ferrari in P3, no, that's an Alfa Romeo. So Ferrari are currently P11 and P17. We've got more yellows. that might be an Alfa Romeo actually. And then Installator and Candy Cane are in the Alfa Romeo. A bit hard to see sometimes for the red and the burgundy there. And also on the track map, they do look quite similar. But it is Alfa Romeo who is the quickest Ferrari-powered car at the moment, which is kind of similar to real life almost, actually, which is funny. But yeah, we'll see what the bright red Ferraris can do. Still got 7 minutes left, so plenty of time to get laps in. We should see another 1, probably 2 runs from all the drivers. Won't have time for 3. So now's not a bad time to come out, do 1 more lap, and then come back in, put a fresh set of boots on, and send it for when the track is prime. As we just see Gemma coming through the final couple of corners now, nice and tidy, still a valid lap, which is the number one thing. Finish first you have to finish, quote the great Jackie Stewart, and that is P15 for the Red Bulls. So not the quickest lap. Purple middle sector according to our timing screens, who knows if that's right. But yeah, he'll take that as one seat mofo. Every single time I've flicked to the Renault driver, he's had a red track map, meaning an invalid lap. So really struggling for track limits. That's going to be a massive factor for the race, I think. Who can keep it between the white lines for the longest, because yeah, it won't be uncommon to see guys with 12, 15, 18 seconds, possibly more, during the race, just because there are so many places you can cut. So one seat mofo is going to come into the pit, so he's had enough of those tyres to put on some more. We'll jump on board with the Ferrari, because why not? Currently P19 having not set a lap, so he needs to get something on the board now, so he's at least got something to fight with. You don't want to invalidate now and then give yourself essentially a one-shot quali to get a lap in and then risk victory in that. So important for Honest Cook to get this lap in actually, and the Ferrari driver as well, Lunacy, his teammate. He's done 2 laps from those softs, but I don't think he's improved. So really important for the 2 Ferrari guys to get clean laps in, as Honest Cook is coming up to the hairpin there, goes in first gear to get the car turned, loses the back end slightly, get the power down. You probably want to short shift a little bit out of that corner just so you can put the foot to the floor, but it doesn't look like he has too much time. He's got good momentum down the straight, DRS wide open, possible overtaking zone into here. This is going to go nicely through there, shows those curbs plenty of respect, doesn't attempt to cut any of them. We've got more yellows around the place. Honest Cook can go P12 just ahead of his teammates, so what's that, 8 thousandths between the 2 Ferraris. His teammate looks like he's run out of fuel, yep. So Lunacy's going to have to hurry back to the pits and get another lap in, currently sitting P13, which is probably a bit lower than where we would expect to see him. Who've got a lap? IG Flow in the AlphaTauri, one of the best levers in the grid, I think I say it most weeks. But he's coming up to the final couple of corners. The Macedonian goes quickest, so we've missed that one. The Haas driver shown plenty of pace, won a couple of races. Starting to stretch the legs. IG Flow beats that for 109.217. So we've just jumped on board there for the end of the quickest lap of the session, and that is going to be tough to beat, I reckon. That 109.2, that is a good lap. Macedonian just behind as well. BMAC just a 10th behind as well. X-Mort's invalidated. Installator looks like he's on a lap. So Arjun has changed alliances. He's gone the Kimi route, gone from Ferrari to Alfa Romeo. Looks like Installator is their best chance of a top 3 result in qualifying for now. Got a Williams turning slowly in the first sector. I'm sure he's just getting out of the way. We'll stay on board with the Alfa Romeo though. Oh, he's got very, very loose on the traction. Looks like he's bailed out of that lap. Understandable, you're not going to gain much time because if you lose it in the hairpin, you're going to lose that for the entire straight afterwards. So not great there. Shinra Tada in the McLaren driver. That doesn't sound very good. In the McLaren driver from McLaren is coming through the hairpin now and onto the straight. Got a Mercedes right behind. I wonder if he's on a lap. According to our map, he's on an out lap, so that's okay. We'll stay with Ashina Matata though as he comes through the last chicane and jump on board. No, he bails out, so he obviously thinks he's not going to improve that lap. No, he's not. I think that might have just been in lap because his time is already too high, so he'll put on a fresh set of boots and give it one more shot. We haven't seen on stream yet, we haven't seen MJ, so we'll stay on board with the Mercedes driver, repping the number 13. Just got more yellows around the place. Looks like a Haas going slowly, just getting out of the way of whatever that red dot is. MJ gets so close to the wall there, that's a fantastic camera shot. 1.5 tenths up in his best, which is going to move him up a couple of positions possibly if he can hold on to it. But he's going to want to find a bit more time through the second and third sectors. We'll have to make sure we jump on board with those quick guys in the top to make sure we catch possibly what could be a pole lap but we'll stick with MJ for now, as most people are in the pits. They're going to have to hurry out soon though, because you almost want to give yourself a second chance in case you invalidate the first lap. So we should see most of these guys starting their out laps soon. But MJ is keeping it nice and tidy, not sure if he's up or not. Flick off, he is up, so he's 3 and a bit tenths up. You can see in the top right there. See if he can hang on to it, cuts the first one, which you can do, but you cannot touch the second one, so he takes that really well actually. Towards it up to the line, it's going to be a good lap, it's going to be a very good lap. 1:09.1, it's a pole lap. Looking at that, yeah, end result there, oh, he's got, I was just going to say, who was that? I think it's Artie. Artie's running to the back of someone. No, it's not Artie, it's his teammate. Dan the Racer's running to the back of the Turismo on the pit exit, because they were getting out of the way of MJ. Yeah, I was going to say it could be a top 3 lap, but it is a top 1 lap for MJ, so 1:09.1 is the time to beat for all these guys. I wonder if Dan the Racer's now got some front wing damage. He does, so Dan the Racer's session is over. He's not improving on that P12 unless he puts in a superb time with that damage, which is probably unlikely. F1 boy is invalidated. If we go on board with Lunacy, we should expect to see him towards the front. He looks like he's pushing. I can't see if he's up on his time. He's 6 tenths up in his time, so important for Lunacy to get this lap, and he's got traffic in front. I'm not sure what Turismo is doing. He's on an out lap. Lunacy will be quite annoyed at that, I know. Maybe cost him a tenth or so, but important for Lunacy to get this lap in, because it's almost his last chance. There's a bit of traffic in front of him as well, but that shouldn't affect him too much. Takes that really nicely, puts the floor, runs the grass. That's again going to cost you a little bit of time, and that could make the difference, as he only goes P8, so I know Lunacy likes this track as well, so he'll be a bit disappointed with that. We might see him go again, just because, why not? But yeah, I think Lunacy will be hoping for a bit higher than that. In terms of guys at the front, Xmore is invalidated again. Got a lot of traffic in here. I think that was Candy Cane, yeah. Guys trying to sort each other out, figuring out who's on the lap and who's not. You see a lot of these guys have invalidated their laps. Xmore is going to start a lap, but we'll jump aboard with Beatback, who's improved by 3 tenths already, but he's invalidated. Oh, that could have been an absolute monster time if he'd hung on to that. As long as Crook in the Ferrari goes P4, so Arjun, is it time to go back to Ferrari? Or he switched allegiances to Alfa Romeo. The prancing horse is back up front, although he is not the leading Ferrari powered car, because Macedonian is still in P3. But that's a decent lap there from Honest Crook, flying the flag for Ferrari. Suskas retires. We see a couple of guys retiring the pits now because the session is done. We'll stay on board with Macedonian though, because this could be a pole challenges. IG Flow is invalidated, so we'll have to stay with Macedonian, who I think is probably the last person who could get pole. I'm not sure if Xmore is still on the lap, but we'll stay with the Haas driver. How many laps in the race? It'll be a 35 lap race, so a lot of laps, although the lap time is quite short, so probably about a 40-minute race. Would be my guess, maybe 45 minutes, probably more like 45 actually. Plenty of time, which is good for the drivers, as Macedonian is coming through the final couple of corners now. I love jumping on board. As he's validated, oh, that's a shame. So that's that lap done. Tried to cut a tiny bit too much of that. So that'll be it for Macedonian. He's settled for P5 after he looked likely for a top 3. Speaking of top 3, look at Turismo there. We've missed that one. He's jumped up into P2 with the 109.139, which is only 4 thousandths off pole. So that's a great lap there from Turismo after being run into in the pit entry before. So superb job there from the McLaren driver, as Lunacy put himself in P4 as well. We've also missed that. I wonder if we've got a bit of a timing glitch, because I'm sure Lunacy wasn't there. Well, maybe he was, maybe I've just missed a couple of things. Yep, so Ferrari ending up with a 4.6, so go Ferrari there, we see it. What a bandwagoner. If you want to, if you wanted to know what a bandwagoner is, or trying to explain it to somebody, this is a perfect example of it. But it will be Ferrari in a P4 and 6, which is good for them, but no one could topple MJ in the Mercedes up the front, as we see the Mercedes so often these days. 4 thousandths to a Turismo Matata, and then less than a tenth to IG Flow in P3 in the AlphaTauri. And it will be Ferrari 4.6 with Macedonian in the middle, so 3 Ferrari powered cars right there. BMAC in P7, another guy who looked likely for the top. Xmore, Installator and Suskas, but look at this, top 9 all within 2 tenths. That is absolutely incredible. It's what we like to see. We just scroll down the bottom to keep the boss happy. Once Mofo not ending up setting the time, which is really disappointing, so he'll be starting right at the back, and then Drell obviously disqualified. But that's incredible, top 9 within 2/10. That shows how close this field is, which is super. As we just wait for these guys to get their strat sorted. A couple of options you can do for the race. We haven't talked about strat really in qualifying yet. You could do a medium to hard, but it's probably a bit slow. The guys in the softs will probably do a 2-stop, soft, medium, medium, or maybe a soft, medium, soft if you feel a bit enthusiastic. Yeah, unless you're trying to 1-stop medium hards, we probably won't see the hards come into play because they are quite slow. And the last thing you want is to be understeering around here with all the track limits that you can breach. So we'll have to see what these guys pick. On the strategy side, top 10 will have to start in the softs, obviously. I'm pretty sure they all qualified on the softs. We'll have to check that. We'll just get it up now as they start their formation lap. Not sure why this all disappears. Yep, top 10 all on softs, and no one electing to use the hard tyre, which I think is probably a good idea just because it is that slow. P11 to 13, DVT, Artie, and P White will start the mediums. We've seen a couple of those guys, Artie Jim and P White, do a couple of alternate strats and make it work in recent races. So we'll have to see if they can do it again. Dan the Racer in P14, so racing point 12 and 14, not fantastic. Dan will start on softs, and we've got F1 Boy Ninja Penguin on row 8, will start on mediums, and then row 9 will be Jammer and Candy Cane on softs, and then Onesic Mofo and Drow at the back will be on mediums and softs. So a bit of variety there actually as we see our predicted strategy. So I don't know, it's a little bit pointless when you've got the mediums and hards theoretically taking the same time number of laps. I do think that soft medium will be preferred, though the softs won't last too long, and I don't think you'd be able to stretch the mediums while keeping pace. We'll have to see what they do. As we saw a Shun Matata in the background there, cut in the corner. Not the first time we'll see it. We've seen it, and it will definitely not be the last. We get another pretty pit stop strategy, and this one's saying soft, medium. Okay, so the game has thrown us about 13,000 different strategies that you could use. So I'm not sure if there's any point in me talking about strategy, because apparently you can do whatever you want. As Shun Matata goes zooming through IG flow. No, it was MJ, which is a bit weird, a bit unrealistic. But yeah, guys in the chat, let us know what your top 3, who you reckon will get the win and the rest of the podium. Same deal as always, I will buy you a Freddo if you get it right. I've already given one away to Onesic Mofo actually for getting it right a couple of weeks back. So get some predictions in quickly, and we'll have to see who has the crystal ball tapped in perfectly, as we see a couple of guys at the back being very slow to the grid. Drow just now coming around the final corner, so front guys be impatient to get started, but why have we got that camera angle? There we go, that's more like it. But as these guys are lining up, I'll give you till the I'm being generous, I'll give you to the end of lap 1 to give me a top 3. But we just wait for these guys to get started. Just get rid of some stuff. We'll follow the middle of the pack as you've got 5 lights. And we are underway for the Canadian Grand Prix. It's like a decent start at the front, lots of ghosting in the field as lots of the time happens. Got a bit of clutter in the back there. As you see, Shun Matata trying to throw it down the inside of IG flow quite aggressively. A little bit of contact, the Ferrari behind looking okay. Lunacy with Macedonia on the inside. So Lunacy getting the jump on the Haas, or Haas trying to get around the outside. Lunacy will take a warning for that, and that will be a position for Macedonia as he gets caught in the grass. Looks like at the back, we'll put some data back on. We've now got a 3-stop being suggested, so Jeff is on absolute steroids at the moment. I don't think we're seeing any guys doing 3-stop, as we've got a big battle pack here. This looks absolutely wild with P White, BMAC and Dan the Racer, as BMAC just tags the back of P White and ends up losing out a little bit more. That might allow Artie, no, Artie's too far away. BMAC is going to have to concede to Dan the Racer for P9, as we've got a big dive up the front. Insulator on this crook, the 2 Ferrari team guys. And a bit of a scuffle, and Insulator has lost out to P White, and side by side with Dan the Racer now. So quite a frenetic start. I don't think we've really had any major incidents though, which is absolutely fantastic. It's the kind of racing we want to see, as we see Insulator now down the inside of down the racer, he's going to be able to hold it down the racer. Oh, gets a bit of a tap in the back, but as we got a render on the wall to P White. So P White actually made a fantastic start there, but he's put it in the World Champions. If you've got a car just putting in the middle there, it's a bit weird. Candy Kane's picking up penalties galore for some reason. But yeah, we just had a massive convergence. A couple of guys may have got front wing damage and all of that. I'm really confused because it saw P White was in the wall there, but he's suddenly appeared back in front of these guys. That must have just been a major case of serious lag. Not what we like to see. I might have to rewind the stream a little bit to actually see what happened there, because I'm sure P White was pretty much parked on the middle of the straight, and then he just randomly appeared in front again. But oh well, enough of that. We'll have to look back up to the front as MJ has pulled out a second already to assume a tie. We get a bit of an interesting camera angle there. We'll jump on board as Macedonian and IGF flow right on the tail of each other, and Lucy just a couple of tenths behind as well. But MJ is starting to shoot away. He's going to want to hope to break that second before lap 3 when the DRS comes active, and he's currently doing that very, very well. Notable mention, without his lag, P White right and P7 on medium, so he's made a mega start. We'll put up the positions gained. So he's gained 6 positions off the start already, so the biggest gainer, and then Dan the Racer picking up 4 as well. Top 3 as they were, P4 and 5 swapping around. Biggest loser so far is, I think it's Exmoor actually down 5. No, it's DVT down 7, so DVT's got himself into trouble somewhere. But yeah, a fair bit of movement, especially down the back there. A couple of guys gaining a fair few positions. So that's what we like to see, which is good. Gemma and Pancake did make another pit stop. So that's why they're so far back, which is a shame. They're going to have to hope for safety cars. Looks like Macedonian's dropped off the back of RJ flow slightly, and that's how allowed Lunacy right at the tail. But the Macedonian gets a much better exit out of there actually, so he will be safe from his teammate for now. Ferrari's right next to each other, which could spell disaster, but we'll have to see what they do about negotiating each other and the guys in front as Lunacy gets a bit loose off the corner there. That's going to allow his teammate to get a decent run, but I don't think he'll throw a big boy dive. No, not in his teammate, not in lap 3. That would be a bit foolish. They've all gotten through pretty nicely. Looks like the back DVT and Drow having a bit of a scuffle as well. Oh, that's a big dive, and that's a bit of a push to pass. Drow's kind of letting go, and he's lost it. And that would be more damage for the Mercedes driver, who's an absolute shocker. Got disqualified within about 3 minutes of qualifying, and has now got damage and will probably be last now. As you see, guys picking up 3 seconds already, so that is... yeah, that's a recipe of things to come, I reckon. We've got a massive DRS train already, actually. Although, to be fair, actually the Ferraris have swapped, haven't they? And BMAC and P White gone side by side, and P White is ghosting all over the shot, so P White needs to re-hook up to that MBN, I reckon, because it is letting him down. Although some would argue that is... I have no idea what's happening. He suddenly spawned right back in front. So it might be a connection warning actually from the steward, because he was pretty much inside of BMAC, and now there's a massive gap. So interesting things happening in the Renault garage. Speaking of Renault, once again, Mofo trying to pull himself up his field, but got a bit of a gap to Ninja Penguin in front. Just looking at those timing screens there. Up the front, it's 1 second gaps pretty much between the top 3, with Macedonian right on the tail of RJ Flow. So battle for P3 could be starting to heat up right now, but the top 2 are starting to stretch away a tiny bit. RG Flow won't have DRS, no he won't, so Macedonian is in a good place. I was about to mention before all of that, Honest Cook and Lucy swapped over as well, so Ferrari obviously think that Honest Cook has the better pace at the moment, and Lucy's letting go to chase after this little pack here, so strategy there at Ferrari, we'll have to see if it pays off, as these guys just come around and finish lap 4. It'll be interesting to see how long they want to go on the sauce for. The undercut could be quite handy, and also the pit lane is quite short, so maybe not as handy as other places, but fresh tyres are always going to give you a lot more pace, as everyone's really close to each other actually. The biggest gap other than those guys at the back is Drow picks up another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I think this is his second stop. We'll have to see if he continues. Yes, he's going to put on the hards, so Drow's going to go and push it for as long as he can, but he really needs a safety car to get him back into this race, as Macedonian cuts that corner slightly. That would probably be a warning. Don't remember the drivers who've already got a penalty. There were a few already. I think BMAC was one of them, as up the front actually, Shooting Batatas had a... Geez, P3 have caught up a lot. It's P White and Lucy now having a scuffle. Who knows if this is actually happening, or if P White has just suddenly lagged in front. Looks like it is genuine, so P White making moves as you've got yellows. I think that's Drow again. He is around the first corner. We'll jump on board as we've got a switch for the lead, and MJ, he's kind of been forced to pit there because he got squeezed by Shooting Matata. who made the move down the inside, and he made a tiny bit of contact. I wonder if that's going to be a front wing. He's not going to change it, so it might be time damage if anything, as plenty of guys are getting penalties again. I think once they've got one amongst a couple of others. DVT speeding in the pit lane as MJ waits a long time there. I wonder why that was. Maybe he's forgotten to hit accelerate. So a little bit weird. Bit of weirdness happening. It is worth mentioning though, P White and P5 on mediums, that is absolutely phenomenal. So showing fantastic pace. We've got more yellows, hit that Strel again. So he's really having a hard time, but on those hard tyres, which will have zero grip at all. Candy Cane also hit hard, so he's playing the long game. So we'll have to see what those guys can do as P White gets a little bit squirmy. Through the chicane there. We'll have to jump back up the front though, because Ashuma Tada has now been released into the lead. MJ kind of being forced to pit there from the lead, which he will be quite frustrated about, and looked like he got held as well. As we've got lots of stuff happening here. We've got BMAC and Lunacy going at it, as well as Insulator and RD teams behind him. So we've got two sets of 2 wide, and this could almost be 3 wide. Both racing points hunting down the Alpha Romeo with Installator. Someone's in the wall in front. That's BMAC has gone absolutely swervy-worthy. He's now going to slot in behind Lunacy, who's going to come into the pits. That's one thing we've got to watch out for as well. To try not to straight line people going into the pit lane. I definitely did not do that in the Tier 3 race. 100% not. As we got to move the lead as well. Ashuma Tada and IG Flow having a bit of a scuffle. IG Flow coming out on top this time. Macedonian licking his lips, ready to pick up the pieces of any kind of slip up from these guys as Drag picks up a 3-second penalty. So that's not going to help his race. We've got yellows, I think that's Drow again, so these guys are going to be catching him now. We'll jump on board with Ashuna Tada. Reads in the chat, Pressure has got the slick, couple of blokes breathing down his neck. He loves a bloke though, spends his time at the male brothel. Unfortunately I can't quite comment on that. I'm not sure if that's a bit of an inside reference. But yeah, he's making up moves. He's in P12 now, so making up some positions. He'll be hoping for a top 10. We'll have to watch his progress. Both Renaults on the move early in this race. We'll see if that male brothel, that time in there, is going to pay dividends. I might not comment on that any further actually. As IG Flow's pulled out a fair gap, actually Macedonian's on the move. He's going to make a move around the outside as we've got more yellows around the place. I think that's a McLaren in the back DVT. They're going to have to stay with these guys though, as Macedonian gets the move done on Ashuma Tada, and now Honest Cook is right behind the McLaren as well. Ninja Penguin picks up a time penalty. We've still got yellows in the 3rd sector, as we've got green now, so that's good. As we see a couple of guys move positions now. I think that was all Lunacy and MJ having a scuffle. This could be for an effective high position though, that both these guys haven't pit already, so even though they're P14 and 15, they are realistically a lot higher than that. As Ashuma Tada, X-Mort picking up penalties as well. Pit window is apparently open. These guys biting a bit earlier than possibly imagined. Drow's had enough of those hards, he's putting on mediums, and he's going to almost spin it in front of DBT, who I think was the one who spun it before as well. So, geez, I've done a lot of talking in this first 8 laps. There's been so much happening. It's got a bit of a fight for the lead as well. Macedonian's going to go for it before the hairpin. So obviously wants to pressure IG Flow. Bit of contact, bit of side to side, and Macedonian's going to force right towards the wall there. As Ashuma Tada and P White and Honest Cook all fighting as well. So this is an absolute crazy battle. We'll jump on board with Ashuma Tada, who have the best view of these two in front. Macedonian does get DRS, and we'll see if Ashuma Tada will send it down the inside. You have to be really brave. Actually, the front 2 pit, and Macedonian picks up 5 seconds, so that's going to be massively costly. That's going to put Ashuma Tada into the lead with P Right and P2 on those medium tyres. Geez, these penalties are getting out of hand. These guys need to keep a lid on it, because they are going to lose lots and lots of positions if they continue to rack them up. The P White and P2 on mediums now. Also RD and P4, just a little bit behind, about 5 seconds behind P White, as Lunacy goes quickest on the medium. So Lunacy, now that he is ahead of MJ, he looks a lot happier on those harder tyres on the mediums than he did on the softs. So Lunacy will be one to watch. I assume he'll probably do a medium for the rest of the race, but he looks like he's got plenty of pace. We did see let his teammate go. Speaking of his teammate's lost out massively, so I wonder if he's done a win, as we see a bit of a scuffle here with X-Mort DVT and Honest Cook in the Ferrari. A little bit of craziness going on. We'll stay on board with the Ferrari. He's going to have the best view of this little scuffle, as he's actually got a really good exit. So Honest Cook's lost out somewhere in the pit stops. He wouldn't have double stacked because he was ahead of Lunacy, so maybe he's had to do a front wing or something. As P White's going to get a move done for the lead down the straight as well. So P White's showing massive pace. Ashuma Tada's going to have to come in. He's been compromised slightly because he doesn't want to run to the back. But P White taking the lead on track, which is absolutely commanding. It's one thing to take it in the pits on the alternate strat, but to actually get it done on track before the pit stops is super mega. So I wonder if he, White or Wright, is on track for an absolutely fantastic result. It'd be good to see. He's being kind of there but thereabouts, but not quite close enough to really capitalise. As you see, a bit more fighting down the field. We've got yellows in sector... Oh, someone's in the World Champions. It's DBT. He's binned it. Like any true champion, I guess. He's going to have to watch himself. He needs to get that... Alright. He's reset the track, which is a bit illegal, but he probably needed to before he got disqualified, which would have sucked even more, so that's okay, it's understandable. As you got Suskas, he's also gone around. I just saw him go drop to Honest and Mort. It looks like Suskas has had a bit of an incident. Has he got damage? He's got someone right on the outside. I'm not sure who that is. I think it's Drow, who I think put himself on the wall. They've both got damage. So Suskas, just coming into the pits a couple laps ago, is in the wall, as is Drow, who's had an absolute shock over a race so far. Still plenty of time to gain a bit of time back. Where is this close battle pack? We've got a bit of a train behind Lunacy. MJ sticking with him. We saw Lunacy pick up the fastest lap, so he's got plenty of pace. You see the gap just in front of Lunacy to Macedonian IG Flow, who are his race. So this could be an effective race through the lead with these two in front here as MJ picks up the penalty down the race from Lonsik Mofo. Swap positions. Lonsik Mofo gives him the fat squeeze. Gets the move done. So great move there from Mofo. Down the race is still on those softs. He's the last one to stay out, and he's going to be really struggling at this point. As we've got a safety car, Suskas retired. Where's he done that? Is that the World Champions as well? It is. He's done almost the same thing that K-Mag has done in the half driver, so that's brought out the safety car, and that's going to work out perfectly for those top six who haven't pit yet. Now Suskas leaves out of frustration, obviously. P. White, he can probably do a soft to medium from here, he'll be close. Ideally for those those medium runners, they would have liked his safety car probably 5 laps later, but it's going to really help down the racer. Actually, is going to be able to maintain a little bit more track position than if he'd otherwise pit. So first chance for these guys to kind of reconverge and get their race restarted as Gemmo's getting a little bit loose. Candy Cane, DBT will come to the pit, so Suskas out, Drow will inherit P19 after that's all sorted out. We'll have to see what these guys do. P. White is in, ID Cheng stays out, so big call there. Ninja Penguin will come in, Mofo will come in, Ninja Penguin picks up a speeding penalty, so Renner's going to have to double stack, so hopefully they get that done quickly for Mofo's sake. Dan's in and F1 Boy is in, so yeah, once Mofo getting held, he's going to lose probably about 5 seconds. And he's getting a front wing change, so that's going to be even more time, so Mofo's going to lose a lot of positions. He's put it on the hards as well, so he's going to one-stop it. A lot of variety here. We've got 3 different compounds being chosen, so Mofo and down the race on the hards, we've got F1 Boy pit for mediums, as the Candy Cane. P. White pit hards as well, so he's gone for a one-stop. Ninja Penguin put the softs on, so he's going to be absolutely rapid. Of course, it was really quick in the first couple of races, had a couple of shaky ones since. Ninja Penguin will definitely be one to watch, but he will definitely have to stop again as well. So Ninja Penguin will have the best pace at the restart. P. White's an interesting one. He might lose out a fair bit because those medium runners around him still have fairly fresh tyres. So P. White, he's not going to have to stop again. It'll just be a matter of whether he can hang on to a bit of pace. I was going to say McLaren for the win, hopefully. So jump into a third team. I've got to ask you, mate, are there any other teams that you want to see win? You've shown allegiance to 3 of them already. It's good to see such a wide taste in heroes, I guess, but I mean, ultimately you've got to stick with one, right? That's the rule for sport. Shimatara is in a decent position. He's in the fight, so he could be the McLaren win. But DVT's probably a bit far out of it, so the McLaren win's going to have to come on Shimatara's shoulders. Showing a bit of pace, so could happen. So Artie Cheng's will be an interesting one though, having not pit. He's obviously thinking to stay out a bit longer. I'm not too sure why he wouldn't pit, unless he's going to try and stretch it out and maybe go soft, which would be a massive stretch. He'd have to go soft medium, I think. Macedonian is an effective P1 because of the pit stops. IG Flow effective P2 and Lunacy effective P3, so it was really important for Lunacy there to get the move done on MJ on the outlap as well, because that gives him a bit clearer sight to those top 2 who he will be wanting to beat. MJ still in a good position, probably in a podium position, showing, displaying his pace early on. Shumatada also close behind. P. White, he might struggle initially. BMAC kind of been there and thereabouts once again, kind of in that front midfield pack. He'll be hoping for a little bit more insulator in P9 representing Alpha Romeo, and then Penguin and P10 on the softs. At the back, also worth noting, Gemma and Drow put on softs. Sleazy come in the pits again. I think Gemma made 2 stops onto that safety car. We should see it in this lap because the whole field is there. Yep, safety car in this lap, so it'll be up to ID Changs to back them up. And everyone behind is going to have to be watching closely so we don't see any kind of repeat of what happened in the real life race that has just passed at Magello. So let's hope these guys don't fall it too early. Looks like Artie's going fairly quickly already actually. The safety car is only halfway down the straight, so we can't go too early. We'll jump on board Macedonia actually, who's probably going to get a better restart due to those pressure tyres. He's kind of going but not quite. He's keeping a fairly large pace. This could cause a bit of chaos in the midfield. As he's going, Macedonian is into overtake and so is Artie. So we'll stay on board for Macedonian as he'll probably try and make a dive. He's not going to be close enough, so he'll have to settle for P2. Looks like it's gotten away fairly clean for the rest of the field as well. No one's really dropping major positions, which is good to see. We've got a bit of a scuffle down here. Looks like Dan the Racer and F1 Boy and Honest Cook all getting nice and close. Honest Cook's, lost out a fair bit of track position as well. We've got a lot of penalties at the front. Artie Changs picks one up from the lead, which is not going to help his cause. Not ideal. As we go slow car there, I think it's just Drow getting out of the way. Artie gets very, very loose in. That's going to let Macedonian right through. Wrong way. Artie Changs will have to let that one go, and he's going to have IG Flow right at the back. So Macedonian needs to push now. He needs to really push now. And try and get the gap to IG Flow before he makes a move. Might be too late actually. IG Flow is already on the outside. IG Changs is not going to have much tyre to fight with. Give him a little tap actually. A little bit of a kiss there on the side pod. You can see IG Changs losing the rear end everywhere though. Lunacy's got a mega run out of there and will probably make a move if IG Changs. Although to be fair, IG Changs is closing IG Flow again a little bit. So no one's going to be able to make a move. Lunacy goes, oh, very deep. Did he run to the back of him? Can't really see. Lunacy is so close to Artie Changs. I wonder if he got a bit of damage, but he's going to probably make a dive. Artie Changs moves a couple of times. Lunacy dives to the inside and pushes his way through. Gets a bit of wheel contact. Can he hold it around the outside? No, his rear's getting nice and loose. Bit of a power slide there. A bit of showmanship. As we're going to go side by side through here, which is not usually a place you go side by side, and someone has to back out, and it is Artie. As we've got yellows again, that looks like DVT's gone round. It's not great there for McLaren. Especially if they want to get that win, as Dan the Racer picks up 3 seconds amongst a couple of others as well. So quite a crazy restart. We'll have to jump on board with Ninja Penguin, who's right at the back of Insulator as well. We've got more yellows. That is for the Mercedes of Drow. He's making a lot of mistakes at the moment. I wonder if he's trying something with the assists or if he's just not quite getting the hang of this track. We'll have to ask him maybe later in the race because he's struggling so much at the moment. We see Exmore and Insulator or making a move there. As MJ has lost a lot of positions. He's lost a couple there. He's lost out to Lunacy and MJ. Artie Changs, I think I meant to say. He's got more yellows around the place. Machine Matata right on the tail of Artie as well. He might send a big boy dive bomb down here. He does absolutely send it, and he's going to get that move done. So great move there from Machine Matata with the overspeed, and Artie Changs is compromised on the apex, and that's going to let BMAC have a great run as well. He's got more yellows in sector 2, or a bit of a squeeze on the brakes there. Artie doing his best to defend, but he's going to have no tyres to play with. So he's going to have to give that one up as well. Next up is Ninja Penguin on soft tyres, so it gets even worse for Artie Changs. PY alright, right behind these guys. So actually keeping pace with the pack fairly well, which is good to see. Ninja Penguin gets 3 seconds on the screen. Exmore and F1 Boy all having a bit of a scuffle. Got a bit of weirdness happening with this leaderboard here. He's got more yellows in sector 2. We'll leave that for now because it is Drow. Honest, F1 Boy and Exmore at the front. Got 2 rooms right behind. Ninja Penguin will get a move done. Will he? Late on the brakes. Or he gets a bit squeezed there. Artie Changs putting on some decent defense, but you can see how much he's lost out. The guys in front, so Ninja Penguin needs to get this move done as soon as possible. It's absolutely critical for his race, especially being on those soft tyres, which will wear out quickly. He needs to make the most of the grip while it lasts. There's got a bit of movement down the back as well. Once it Mofo and Dan the Racer going side by side. Dan the Racer swoops around the outside there. Once it Mofo will get the DRS though. Does Dan have DRS? He doesn't. So once it Mofo will probably try and make a move again. I think someone's in the wall up here. I think I saw a Mercedes stopped on the track. It's MJ. MJ's in the wall. He's put it in the World Champions. I just saw him and Ashima Matata going side by side on the map, or on the timing screen there, and MJ has come off worst. He's now in 16th place with front wing damage. He's going to have to come around a whole lap and pit again, as Insulated and P White going side by side as well. This is absolutely crazy here. We're going to have to jump off board and have a good view of all of this. Honest Cook and Insulated going side by side as Insulated gets squeezed out by Honest Cook, and up ahead is Artie and Ninja Penguin as well, swapping positions. So Ninja Penguin up in a P6 on those softs as well. You've got more yellows. I think that's just Drought getting out of the way again, but it's absolutely crazy. Insulator has made a mistake and he's lost a couple of positions, and down the race will go round. He's outside, and looks like One Tick Mofo's going to have a look at the inside. Oh, it's a big squeeze. Oh, that was a bit dangerous there from Insulator, giving him a massive squeeze there. One Tick Mofo had to back out of that, and he's losing the back end, and that's let. Who's that? Candy came through. We've got more yellows around the place. A couple of guys really going all over the shot as Drow is Ghost. He's just been lapped. Oh, we've seen Candy Cane be turned by One Tick Mofo slightly. I don't know, tried to be enthusiastic and throw the nose in there, but you see him heavy on the brakes and you just didn't get left any space there. So I would call that racing incident, but we'll leave that to the stewards, but that is frustrating for both parties, especially Candy Cane, who's now going to be second last. Artie Cheng's got 5 seconds speeding in the pit lane, so Artie Cheng's finally pits, having lost so many positions on the restart as Drow's retired. I think that's in the pits as well, so frustrating there. Actually, it might be on track. Yeah, it's on track. He's done it at the World Champions, so that's not great there for Mercedes, with MJ now pretty much last and Drow out of the session, as Candy Cane also retires in the pits, understandably frustrated after being in that little incident with One Tick Mofo. So we're down to 17 drivers now. Which is a shame, but still it's good to see so many drivers still in the race. Ideally you see everyone finish the race, but it doesn't happen a lot of the time, which is part of racing, as we got P White and F1 Boy. P White starting to lose a bit of touch to the guys in front now that he's got a bit more clear air to those guys. The guys in front have clear air as well, which means they can push. So P White's starting to struggle now in the open air. So F1 Boy will probably try and line up and move down here. Look at all those hungry cars behind, trying to gobble up the hard for P White. They may have to stop again though, so P White could still be in it as Ninja Penguin and Ashima Matata going side by side, and past goes Ashima Matata. I think Ninja Penguin was just trying to. We've got a bit of a tangle at the back here. We'll have to check that out. Looks like Artie and DBT had a bit of a scuffle as well. I think that McLaren was damaged. Demo and Exmore also. Exmore missing that quarter. Wonder if he got involved in a little incident there, F1 Boy and Jamo. F1 Boy's lost out a bit of time as well actually, so both of them struggling a little bit there. We've got more yellows. I think that is DBT in the World Champions. It is. So it claims another champion. So guys struggling. Candy Cane's left the session understandably, frustrated after the DNF, and DBT will drop to last place. In terms of battles, I think down the race, Insulator chasing the P White is our closest battle on track, and then a bit of a Jamo train as well. We'll have to keep an eye on both of those little trains as the guys at the front are, Insulator goes very late in the break, so he's lost a bit of time. Those guys at the front start to stretch their legs. All those gaps are over 1 second, so down the race goes for a big dive on P White. Down the inside, both these guys on hards as DBT has retired from the session. I think that's in the pit lane as well. F1 Boy and Jamo going side by side as well. Jamo down the inside, can he get it held? F1 Boy's got damage, so that's not going to help him. Jamo on those fresh, or not fresh softs, they're old softs now. He's going to want to get it done, but it's a 2-on-1 fight, both Williams versus a Red Bull. This could be a bit crazy. Jamo has to slot in behind P White. Gets 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. So P White's in, he's done with those hards. Has he got damage? You wouldn't expect him to see him in already. Yeah, he's replacing the front wing, so P White's picked up damage as well, so that's hurt his chances. Looks like a McLaren is going to come in the pits as well. Nope, they're just chilling out. They're just practicing their pit stops when it happens. P White will now drop right to the back as Exmort and Jamo still going side by side, so great little battle here actually. Exmort and the Red Bull. F1 Boy managed to get them both and starting to stretch away a tiny bit. But Jamo, yeah, he'll be struggling on those softs. I would probably expect to see him in this lap for mediums. 15 lap for mediums should be pretty doable. But we'll have to see what he can do. Looks like he's lost that actually to Exmort. So Jamo, yeah, losing a lot of pace now on those old softs. Speaking of old softs, Ninja Penguin, he's probably lost the best of his tyres as well, so we'll probably see him in the next lap or two. Problem for him is he's going to be on mediums and everyone else will probably fit the softs, as Lunacy's the first one in, so Lunacy's going to get a nice undercut here, I think. He's going to pit for more mediums, I reckon, actually, so maybe those medium tyres won't last as long. we'll have to see if anyone guys tries to stretch it out to softs or whether they'll just come in now for mediums like Lunacy is doing. So Lunacy will come out, he'll probably come out P10, he'll beat F1 Boy out I think, as Gemmo picks up 5 seconds for speeding as well. So many penalties, too hard to keep track of all of them. So we won't bother yet. We'll jump aboard with the top guys though, because we haven't given them much screen time recently. Macedonian out in front by 3 seconds, so getting the jump on IG Flow and managing to stretch his legs a tiny bit. IG Flow still 3 seconds. There or thereabouts, he's close enough to kind of still be in the fight, but not close enough to really put up much of a challenge. BMAX put himself in P3, so we've missed that as well. BMAX been rapid through the field. He started after that safety car restart, and I think P8 or P9. So BMAC, yeah, making the most of his opportunities to get into P3. Sorry we've missed that one, but good effort there from the Red Bull driver. Shun Matata in P4 with Ninja Penguin on his old softs behind. Honest Cook looks like he's going to try and hunt Ninja Penguin down. We'll have to see if the AlphaTauri pits. Not this lap, so he'll stay out a couple more. Sorry, excuse me. He'll stay out at least one more lap. Possibly a couple of Insulator down the race. They're going side by side. Insulator dive down the inside, down the race, so lets him go. See if he gets the run. Insulator gets the DRS, so down the rest, so won't have anything to fight with. One Tick Mofo just behind as well, ready to pick up the pieces of any calamity that befalls these guys. As Insulator will hang on there, down the race he gets a bit slippery there, and One Tick Mofo will be just behind. They've got Lunacy behind as well, so Lunacy's going to want to get past this traffic as soon as possible to make this undercut work. Speaking of, BMAX closed the gap rapidly to IG Flow, so BMAC looks like he's got mega pace. That gap was about 2 seconds between IG Flow and then back to Shun Matata as well, but BMAC's put an absolutely mega lap so far. So BMAC's got massive pace. I wonder if he can get past IG Flow and start to catch Macedonian. Yeah, BMAC could be on for a win here if he can keep it clean and keep the pace up. So the Rebel driver kind of flying under my radar a little bit, but now he must be considered. He's going to get moved on an IG Flow fairly easily down the inside. AlphaTauri having to let Red Bull go. He gets the move done, so BMAC showing some fantastic pace after this restart, doing super well. As Honest Cook is going to, well, he's going to kind of get a move done, but Ninja Penguin comes into the pit, so it doesn't really count. What a dramatic Grand Prix, absolutely. There's been so much happening. I've barely had a chance to catch my breath. But these guys really putting on a show. It's great to see so many strategies still being played as well. Lots of things happening. There's always something happening on track, but then also with the strategy as well, there's just guys trying a whole lot of different things, which is fantastic to see, and hopefully they all converge towards the end of the race and we can have a real slog to the end. We've still got 13 laps left, 12.5 laps left, so it's a long way to go. Feels like it's been a long race, but there's been so much happening. That would be why I've just had so much to talk about, because these guys are absolutely crazy. So Lunacy's caught One Tick Mofo rapidly. He's caught 2 seconds this lap, so Lunacy on the pace. He's going to have to get past One Tick Mofo as soon as possible. Unfortunately, down the race was there, which will give One Tick Mofo DRS to defend from Lunacy, but I doubt he'll put up much of a fight because it's not really his race today. Lunacy will be fighting for the top 3, as he's always going to have a little think down the inside there. And see those 2 guys on hards in front, just understeering. With the grip of the tyres that they don't have compared to Lunacy. You can see there Mofo, the DRS helping save him, and he might even pull a move. He's not close enough, so Mofo is going to have to. Oh, it gets so close there, and Lunacy nearly runs to the back of the pair of them. Mofo's on the wall. I think down the race he hits the wall as well, so I wonder if they're going to have any damage. Visually they look okay, but they might have yellow damage, so that is frustrating. If so, but otherwise, bit of a lucky escape. Lunacy, you can see how much grip he's got. He's got so much pace compared to these two, but he's now getting massively held up, and he will continue to do so as long as he's behind him. You see him trying to look around the outside, trying to find a way, ducking over and under, but just not being able to do it. This is turning costly for Lunacy now. He's going to have to get it done in here. I think he's going to have to make one of these passes into the next braking zone. Looks like he's going to get a good run here. Mofo is going to go to the outside and let him by. So Lunacy finally getting that move done, but it was a lap too late. He spent a whole lap trying to get that done and not being able to. So Lunacy's going to have to really push now to make up that deficit. The pit lane here is one of the shortest on the calendar as well, so I think it's only 15-16 seconds time lost. So every little moment on track counts massively because of that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with these guys when Lunacy finally manages to catch them after the pit stops as Lunacy will get the move done. It takes 3 seconds for his trouble, so Lunacy getting a time penalty in order to get it done, but now he's got clear air. Lunacy will finally start to be able to catch these front guys. We'll check up the gap to leader. It's right in that 16, so Lunacy's right in the bubble. But I think at this point the top guys are going to stick it out for softs, which means they'll have a lot more pace. So Lunacy really has to get the pace, get the gaps now before before he gets caught. We saw IG Flow pit as well, so he's the first one to pit and he's decided to put on medium, so deciding the softs aren't worth it. Chances are a lot of these guys might not have a spare set of softs even, because they would have used a lot of them in qualifying. So IG Flow deciding to put on mediums, and he's going to try and undercut as well as he cuts that corner massively. That would definitely be a warning. He's now going to be stuck behind Mofo and down the racer, who are going to have a big side-by-side into the hairpin. Mofo down the inside locks up slightly, but should get the move done. Down the race a bit better on power due to the wider line. And who's going to get DRS? Looks like Mopo's going to have DRS. Yep, detection very early on this track, so you can make a move into the hairpin and then be able to defend it. As IGFO's right in the back as well, he's going to be losing time, just like Lunacy was, unless he can get the health these guys rapidly. As he picks up a penalty as well, just some jumped on board. Down the racer in the wall again, so I wonder if he's now picked up some damage. That's twice now. It will allow IG Flow through easily. As Dan the racer will have nothing to fight with. Still no visual damage on that front wing. Might be a little bit of damage though, but also those hards will not be happy at the moment. Exmort, also worth mentioning, 17 laps on those mediums, just like Macedonian and Honest Cook ahead. BMAC and Shin Matata in P2 and 3. On 16 lap on mediums, which is still very, very old. As we've got a bit of a train down here actually, we should keep an eye on these guys. Ninja Penguin, F1 Boy chasing down Artie Cheng's. Artie on those hard tyres, and Ninja Penguin has just hit. Actually we have to watch this, so RG Flow and 16 Mofo, we saw just off the track there, might have been squeezed a tad, but RG Flow will get the move done on those fresh mediums. So RG Flow got through that traffic much faster than Lunacy did, and that will allow him to close that gap a bit. It'll just be up to whether they can now stretch the gap enough to be able to defend from the soft guys when they pit. As Shun Matata picks up a time penalty from P3, which is going to be costly again. I don't think we'll bother checking penalties unless we get a bit of a dull moment in the race, because there are too many to count and there's too much happening on track. You see 16 Mofo really struggling through there. Down the race we'll get a mega run actually. Both of them have DRS, but down the race he should have the overspeed. Will he get it done? No, he's not. 16 Mofo with enough straight line speed to defend it, so good job there for Mofo, being able to defend it, which is good. And Exmort's going to be right behind these two as well. You see Artie and Ninja Penguin having a scuffle as well in Slayer and F1 Boy. Whoa, F1 Boy's off the track. He's got big damage, so there must have been a hit there. Whether it be with Insulator or with a wall somewhere. But F1 Boy losing out massively there, and he's got big damage as well, which is not what you want to see. We'll stand by with Ninja Penguin as well, just trying to give these midfield guys a lot of love on the stream, which is good. These guys absolutely deserve it. RG Chengs is going to have to try and defend from Ninja Penguin. Got some decent straight line speed actually, so Ninja Penguin running out of ERS to fight with, and that may have cost him in that exchange, but we should see him make a move down into the final couple of corners, and Macedonian will be the first one to pit of that top group. BMAC stays out, so slightly different strategies there. Have to see who gets the best reward out of it. BMAC must be feeling alright in his tyres if he's staying out, because 18 laps is a lot of laps on those medium tyres. As Honest Cook is also going to come in, that will promote Lunacy to P4, P3 actually, and then Macedonian will drop down a few places. IG Flow will jump to P4, Mofo will jump in, Racer will jump in. Actually, it's going to be close to the pit lane, cuts the track. No, Macedonian will come at P7, so he's got a bit of work to do, but he's going to have mega pace on those fresh, soft tyres. Who else pit? Honest Cook pit, he's coming out in P11. So he's coming out pretty much right next to Insulator, which is really frustrating, because now he's going to get held up a bit now on those fresh softs. Insulator on older mediums, still not that old, but they won't be as grippy as brand new softs out of the blankets. So Honest Cook's going to have to get the move done as soon as possible. We'll stay on board here though, because this looks like the most likely overtake to happen at the moment on the track. On the back of RD Cheng's just ahead as well. We'll have to watch that battle as well. But Honest Cook trying to get the run down there, doesn't quite get it. We've done with Ninja Penguin, who's right in the tail of RD Cheng's. So this has been a great fight, not resolved yet. RD Cheng's on the hards compared to Ninja Penguin's mediums. So Ninja Penguin should have the grip. As P White and F1 Boy are having a scuffle too. P White looks like he's absolutely sent it. He's just absolutely overcooked it, which isn't great. As BMAC is in the pits as well now for fresh softs, as we've got lots of weaving here on Squick and Insulator, having a bit of an adventure on the straight there. Looks like it's pretty difficult to go in a straight line on the straight. They've managed to sort themselves out there, as looks like BMAC and Dan the Racer have swapped over. Macedonian will be right behind as well. Dan the Racer gets out of that one, probably smart. Macedonian and BMAC are in the fight for the lead. They've got a bit of a task to catch the top guys. They've got 5.5 laps to do it. Sorry, my bad, they've got 6.5 laps to do it. BMAC right in the back of One Tick Mofo, who's going to move to the inside. So One Tick Mofo's actually done pretty well to get into some good track position. And the guys behind, although a lot of them on soft tyres, some of those gaps are pretty big. So One Tick Mofo could be on track for a top 6, top 7, which would be absolutely fantastic considering as BMAC's going to absolutely send it, push Mofo deep, and that's going to let Macedonian stick his nose in as well. Macedonian putting in a purple sector there, so we should see these guys putting some quickest laps as well. Once Mofo will have to yield the position, doesn't have to pace on these guys. There's someone's around, I think it's Xmort. Xmort's gone around at the chicane, and in front Gemma and MJ going side by side. A little bit of side contact there, MJ having not a great race, and he's going to want to try and get something out of it. He's going to try and get the move done, overtake mode. Macedonian does the quickest lap as predicted. Lots of things happening right now on track. Just flick to these guys, or P White Insulator. Not Insulator, sorry, F1 Boy behind F1 Boy will shoot into the pits. Honest Quick RD Cheng's also right next to each other. Ninja Penguin has cleared those guys so he can get going. So a bit of dust getting picked up there from, I think it was Macedonian, trying to push as hard as he can to get the gap. So Ashina Matata is now in the lead. 6 seconds clear, but Ashina Matata, I don't know why he hasn't pit. I wonder if he's trying to stay to the end. That would be very, very brave, and those tyres would be absolutely shredded. 5 laps still. So Ashina Matata might be trying to go to the end, which means Lunacy 6 seconds behind is probably going to be the goal, unless Ashina Matata just gets an absolute drop off or a puncture. BMAC is right in the back of RJ Flow already. We'll have to stay on board because these guys are rapid at the moment. He's going to throw it down the inside, probably not. He'll probably try and get the run into the first corner. He'll take a penalty for that, he will. Yep, so cutting that corner. Probably not used to having so much grip. Used to having to turn in a bit earlier to get the slidey car into the corner, but he's not going to get the move done. So now RG Flow will stay in P3, but it's going to be costly for BMAC and Macedonian, who need as much clear as they can to make the gap up. They should be able to get RG Flow, they should be able to get Lunacy. I'm not sure if they'll catch Ashina Matata unless the tyres go off, but it'll be very, very close, as we'll jump on board with Macedonian behind, as BMAC will probably try and line up and move. Macedonian taking plenty of that curve, BMAC going wide on the exit, whereas Macedonian went a lot narrow on the exit there. So good to see a couple of different lines from drivers trying different things. Looks like Macedonian's closer to BMAC than BMAC is to RG Flow, but can't get a move done. BMAC takes that really nicely actually. He's going to get a mega run into the hairpin. He's going to pick up the DRS regardless, but if he can get that move done, that would be super. He's going to dive down the inside. That is a big boy dive bomb. RG Flow is going to try for a switchback, but I don't think he's going to have the grip. Yeah, BMAC round the outside gets it done. Mofo is a bit behind, not quite in this battle. RG Flow is going to try and slot in. Does he have anything to fight with? No, he doesn't. Macedonian is going to try and send it down the inside. He's going to send it, yep, side to side action, keep it out of the wall. They've done well there. They've done very, very well to give each other enough space and not put each other in the wall. But Macedonian picked up a time penalty. So it's come at a price again. Just like we saw Lunacy making a move and getting a penalty for it. But it might be worth it. Rather than being stuck behind RG Flow for too long, as look at BMAC is already on the back of Lunacy. And Lunacy is catching Ashina Matata by about a second a lap, so I reckon BMAC might, it'd be so close to Ashina Matata at the end of the race. That gap's coming down so much. He's in the wall. I wonder if that's a bit of damage. He's in the fence, which is not great when you're trying to fight for a race win. We'll jump off board and see if we can spot anything. That front wing's still intact, so it's not major damage. It might be tiny damage, but nothing that will really affect the race. Lunacy and BMAC in P1, 2 and 3, sorry, you can see P1 just around the corner there, Ashina Matata. That is a fantastic camera shot. You can see all of the top 5 guys. RG Flow is still in this battle as well. We can't count him out, as it looks like BMAC is going to do a mega run on Lunacy. Lunacy won't have much to fight with. He's just going to have to watch him sail past. Macedonian's not close enough to make a move, so BMAC is put into P2 after that move, which is fantastic, and he's now got 3 seconds in 3 laps, which sounds pretty easy considering the life of those tyres and the compounds. Ashina Matata now on 23 lap old mediums, which is the highest I've seen around here in a long time. He's actually got the oldest tyres. Even those hard runners, they've only done 21 laps, but the top hard runner guys. So Ashima Tada, not just on the oldest tyres, but the softer older tyres, which are arguably worse. But BMAC, look, he's already closed in half a tenth, 7/10 in one sector. So BMAC is on pace to catch Ashima Tada. It will be a question of whether Lunacy, Macedonian, IG Flow can all get him as well, as Macedonian will dive down the inside and get the move done. Lunacy doesn't have much to fight with. He cuts that corner. That will be a warning. I want to check the penalties to see whether they will play a part, but there's too much happening on track that I don't really want to leave it, so I might just leave it to see what happens at the end of the race. But Lunacy and Macedonian swapping positions there. Lunacy now down out of the podium position. He's going to have IG Flow right behind him on slightly fresher tyres. I think Lunacy will fight this one a lot more because they are a bit more even. Macedonian, they're both going to catch Macedonian almost. Macedonian goes late at the brakes, and IG Flow picks up a penalty for cutting the corner. How many times have we seen that tonight? Guys cutting the corner in order to get the move done, or as a consequence of trying to get a move done. Look at this, BMAC is already within 5/10, so Ashima Tada's made a mistake somewhere, or BMAC just has that much pace, but that gap is already within 4/10, so this should be an easy move. Onesic Mofo picks up a time penalty of P6, still in a good position there for Onesic Mofo, so great job there. Ninja Penguin has a bit of a train behind too, but we cannot leave this battle because this is for the win. BMAC is going to get a mega run. Ashima Tada's tyres will be absolutely streaming. He's getting a nice little camera shot there actually. BMAC will give him a squeeze and we'll get the move done down the inside. Ashima Tada has nothing to fight with. As BMAC's got a lot more ERS as well. Now Macedonian right in the back of Ashima Tada. IG Flow and Lunacy also licking their lips behind as well. We'll see if we get a nice camera shot for the hairpin. We do, which is marvellous. Look at that top 5 all within one camera shot with 2 laps to go. That is the exact kind of racing that we want to see as we say farewell to one of our loyal viewers. Only 2 more laps, mate. Make sure you watch it back if you do have to depart us. But it looks like Macedonian will try and make a move around the outside. That's not really on. Ashima Tada covers that very well. Who's got the better run? It looks like Ashima Tada might have brushed the wall there. Macedonian will get the run. IG Flow will jump on board, who'll have the best view of this battle. As we're on to the last lap now, a bit of contact between Macedonian and Ashima Tada. Ashima Tada has to back out before we see a little incident there, as IG Flow is going to have so much grip on those fresher mediums, and Ashima Tada will drop out of the podium position to P4, and Lunacy is right behind and will probably try and get the move done as well. You'd imagine Lunacy will have the best pace over Ashima Tada, but I think we've got to give a round of applause to Ashima Tada for trying something. 25 laps on mediums is no easy feat. I'm surprised they haven't punctured. But it was brave to stay out when everyone around him was pitting. It's not quite going to pay out, but he's still going to receive a top 5. You can see how much he's struggling now. Lunacy will get a run even though he lost the back end. Actually, he's let off a little bit probably to get DRS, which is smart, if not a little bit cheeky. So Lunacy will get the move probably done, although he gets getting very loose on the exits here. So Lunacy not making it easy on himself, but we have to flick towards the front in a sec. Lunacy will get the move done. We'll have to click up here. IG Flow not close enough to Macedonian. It will be BMAC though, who's won the race. He's going to win it on track at least. Who knows what is going to happen with the penalties. BMAC will win it on the track. P1 for Red Bull. Macedonian will take the lead by less than a second on penalties. IG Flow drops to P2, 3, 4, 5 for IG Flow. BMAC will finish P2 with Lunacy rounding out the podium. Ashima Tada P4 ahead of Onesic Mofo, who's jumped a couple of positions on penalties. So IG Flow must have had heaps. He's lost that to his teammate as well, Ninja Penguin. So Alpha Tauri getting a 6-7, but IG Flow in that podium fight, but dropping down because of penalties. Insulator, Honest Crook, and Dan the Racer will round out the points. RD Cheng's right behind in P11, drops down for penalties. MJ will take P11. RD, Xmore, P White, Gemmo, and F1 Boy, as we just wait for them to round the final corners. But it is Macedonian in the end. So BMAC had to really push there to get the gap to Macedonian in the end, and he's done pretty well considering both of their pace to get less than a second from it. So he's gained 2 seconds, but he needed to gain 3, which is a shame, but I think BMAC can be proud of that considering where he was at the safety car restart, having been able to gain a lot of positions on race pace and strategy. So well done there for BMAC, but it will be Macedonian who wins the race. Onesic Mofo got a few fans in the stream, which is great. Receives driver of the day, so well done there, making up plenty of positions up to P, I think it was 6 in the end. It will be Haas from Red Bull from Ferrari though, up the front. Lunacy keeping it clean to get that last podium position, even though he crossed the line in, I think it was P5. BMAC getting a good result, and Macedonian will come out on top of everybody. So well done there for the three of them after what was an absolutely crazy race. That was probably one of the best races I've actually done to stream on or even spectated. We just had action non-stop from start to finish. Plenty of things happening, plenty of battles, plenty of class driving. So it was almost a perfect race really to watch. And I'm sure these guys had a lot of fun driving it. Macedonian will also pick up an extra point for fastest lap. You can see the penalties on the right hand side there, plenty of them as expected, but being clean pays off, as Macedonian and Lunacy both displayed jumping positions on the line. So well done for these guys there. We'll scroll down to get the entire list for the big boss. Suskas having a poor race, Drow just having a shocking weekend in the end, not having the best of luck. We've seen a few things go wrong with him, which is a real shame. He'll hope to bounce back. P. White looked promising for a while, but ended up falling over after having to make an extra stop for a damaged front wing. Honest Cook also being towards the front for a little while as well. But will be Macedonian from BMAC from Lunacy on the podium. So that was an absolutely wild race. Absolutely loved doing that stream. As I said before, probably one of the best races I've watched online. So that will definitely be getting a watch back from me, and I'm sure a lot of the drivers will be wanting to watch it back as well. But that was an absolutely crazy race, and I really enjoyed watching it, and I hope you guys did too. So we'll leave it there. I'll just check what track is next week, because I can't remember off the top of my head. It will be France, so that will be another track prone to corner cuts. So these guys could almost use this as a practice race to keeping it clean for next week, so that'll be an interesting race. But yeah, that's been it for Canada. Race Spec Pacific Tier 4 putting on a show as always. If you want to see more of these guys, then tune in same time, same place next week. And you can also watch all of the previous races on the Race Spec YouTube channel, as well as the races from the other tiers. Plenty of races happening in a Race Spec week, so make sure you go check out their YouTube for all of the action. But that will do it for tonight. Bod Hodge signing off. Really enjoyed that one, and I'll be back next week for what will be another great race, I am sure. Alright, thank you so much guys, and good night.